Really sad news today for fans of the cyberpunk living card game Netrunner, as its 6 or 7 year run is now announced to be coming to an end. Netrunner, or Fantasy Flight Games, the company that has been using the license to produce it, announced today in a press release on Friday, when all bad news is normally released. In 2012, Fantasy Flight Games launched Android Netrunner, the card game, with innovative mechanics revised from the classic collectible card game, combined with a dystopian cyberpunk future of the Android universe. Android Netrunner has enthralled thousands of players over its course of 2 core sets, a campaign expansion, 5 deluxe expansions, and 8 cycles of data packs. Wizards of the Coast has been a fantastic partner to us over the past 6 years, and we at Fantasy Flight Games are incredibly thankful to them for letting us play with the game system they pioneered. However, as much as we have enjoyed developing Android Netrunner, our current licensing term is coming to an end, and today, Fantasy Flight Games must announce the end of Netrunner, the card game. Now, certainly, I have clients that deal with licensing agreements. They end. Sometimes it's the licensor who ends it. Sometimes it's the licensee. Maybe one theory is it just wasn't that profitable for Fantasy Flight Games. Now, if you don't know what a CCG is, it's essentially, or a living card game, is it goes through non-random expansions. There's no rarity or collectible nature to the game, and thus nowhere near as expensive as doing something like Magic the Gathering. It's similar to games like Star Realms, which I always recommend, because they'll put out small expansions that come in booster packs, but you know what's in there, and then you add it to this, and the game changes. It's a very affordable way to play and draft if you like those types of games. Now, I have been saying for years that I think LCGs are the future, because people just can't or don't want to keep up with a hamster wheel that is $300, $400, $500, $600 every 4 months to keep up playing Standard, having cards rotate. This is one of the major problems with Magic the Gathering, and I still stand by that statement. But this situation is a little odd. To me, I don't think that Fantasy Flight chose to cancel this. Diehard fans are, of course, very upset, and I want to read to you what one of the developers of the game said about the ending of the agreement, and you tell me if this is someone who saw it coming, knew for months they weren't going to renew it. Because when you have a license coming up, for example, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years ahead of time, you already know if you're going to renew it, or I've been in the position where licensors will not allow me to renew it, so you already know that sort of thing is coming. Now, I want to find his quote, because it was very interesting. It was pretty telling in terms of, you know, who was really who was making the decision here. Fantasy Flight Games, same post, lead developer Michael Boggs says that when he learned that Netrunner was ending, he felt sadness, confusion, and nostalgia. Netrunner was something extraordinary. It was unique in its theme and mechanics, sure, but its true specialty came from the people around it. This does not, in my opinion, sound like somebody who knew this was going to happen. And you've got to look at, too, they had just hired a new lead developer. They have a big set coming out this fall. None of this adds up to me. This adds up to Wizards of the Coast taking it back. What will they do with it? It's hard to say. It's weird, because in a lot of ways, we know the sales of Magic the Gathering are struggling. We know that Wizards of the Coast is trying new things with different TCGs and things like that. But this game had just hired a new developer. They have a huge expansion coming out this fall, very, very highly anticipated. So it's hard. It's hard to imagine that Fantasy Flight Games was the one that chose to cancel this. And as a fan of affordable gaming options for players. It's kind of a bummer. It's really disappointing to me, and that after the 6-year run is ended. Now, in Netrunner's Android/Fantasy Flight's official statement, they really don't allude to anything. Starting October 22nd, Fantasy Flight Games will no longer offer for sale any Android Netrunner the card game products, including Android Netrunner playmats, card sleeves. Before we reach that point, Android Netrunner still has one final stop to make. The Rain and Reverie Deluxe expansion will be the final product for the game. Now, one thing that you can take away from it, at least, is that you can still go out there and get this. You can always have the product and enjoy the game in its entirety. And I suggest you do it because the game is loved by many, very solid, and it's going to have a real strong conclusion here this fall, including in the competitive market. They have a final world championship, and you'll see people covering the entire world of Android, and people will continue to play the game. But unfortunately, this is yet another nail in the coffin of affordable gaming. What will Wizards of the Coast do with this license? Will they just kill it? Seems really unlikely to me. Here's my prediction, and I'd love to hear your prediction in the comment section down below. I think Wizards of the Coast is going to continue producing this game. They're going to find a way to make it a CCG or something. There's just no way you end a license and walk away from it. It was clearly a profitable game. Clearly, Fantasy Flight Games, I don't think, was in favor of the cancellation. So I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. To those of you that love Netrunner, definitely a bummer. At least you'll get that last deluxe expansion, and you'll be able to have your games complete and always be able to go back to them and play. Hopefully the game will be revived in some form, and Wizards of the Coast won't fuck it up.